Welcome to Secrets of the Stars, where we explore the ancient knowledge of astrology, decode your unique blueprint, and unveil how the wisdom of the sky contributes to your life. I'm your host, Abby Lutis, astrologer, mentor, and sky guide. It's time to embark on a cosmic adventure of self-discovery and understanding why you are the way you are. Let's dive in. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Secrets of the Stars, where we are exploring everything astrology. And I'm so excited to be back in here recording this episode after quite a big hiatus, I should say. So we're jumping straight back in today. And my last podcast episode was back in June of 2025. And a lot has changed since then. The back half of 2025 was very intense for me, and as I know it was for so many people. There was lots of astrological shifts, lots of shifts happening in my own life, some of which are still happening. So at that time, I decided to put the podcast on hold because I just couldn't hold the space for what I wanted to create with the podcast. And now we are back. So back in 2025, I got into a bit of a habit of offering you these beautiful podcasting, forecasting episodes all around astrology and the upcoming energy of what was coming in every month. For me, this was an easy way to stay connected. It was an easy way to tap into the astrology and just stay consistent with the podcasting. But what I have since realized is that my genius is not necessarily in forecasting astrology. Whilst I can do that and really love to understand the energies that are coming in, my genius within astrology is really helping you to understand yourself through this lens. And that's why I have decided to come back with this really juicy 3-part series that I have created for you, getting started today with this episode that is all about understanding how you are so much more than your star sign. So many people will focus solely on their star sign, and great, that is a great entry point into astrology. But I'm here to tell you and share with you that there is so much more that you can get out of your astrological chart. So that's going to be part 1 in the series. Part 2 is the 3 simple steps to understand yourself more clearly. So I'm going to be showing you where you can take these steps and look into your chart to really gain a deeper understanding of yourself and the qualities of the characteristics that you have. And the 3rd part is all about what are your patterns trying to teach you. We can see so many patterns and cycles by simply looking into our astrological chart. And I am here to break it all down to you, explain it to you in a clear manner, and make it all make sense. So that's what we are doing with this 3-part series, and I'm so excited for you to join me. So just a little bit of a life update. As I mentioned, the back end of 2025 was quite intense. I took a trip to Bali in August. It was around the time of my birthday. I'd never been to Bali before, and I was really, really excited for going. I didn't perhaps get quite the inspiration that I was looking for. My time in Bali was during a Mercury retrograde, and it just wasn't, perhaps I had too many high expectations of what I was hoping to gain from that trip. And it just didn't really deliver for me. So that was the first kind of thing that happened in a spin-off of events. The other things that were going on were around my career, my job that I was working in at the time, and my living situation. So if you were following me during that phase, you know that I was living out of my motorhome, and I was also house sitting. So every episode I'd be coming to you from a different place. I did manage to find a room to rent, but then that all blew out in chaos as well. And so I spent a lot of the second half of the year figuring out where I wanted to live, trying to find a place that was suitable, and getting out of the house sitting world, which I was fortunately able to do. I was also doing some tour guiding over on Rottnest Island, and I just came to realize that the environment that I was in was not supporting me with my future goals and dreams. And so I decided to make the shift. I started looking for new work in areas of health and wellness and things that have really aligned with my values. And again, it did take some time for me to actually find exactly what I really wanted to do. So everything started falling into line after I went on a self-love retreat, which was happening in the end of October. Finally, the pieces started to fall into place, but it was not easy. And, as with all changes and transitions, I feel like there are still parts that are still trying to fit into this ever moving piece that we call life. So, whilst I do feel a little bit more grounded and settled, we still have many of these massive astrological energies at play. And yeah, I feel like I am, as you are, probably managing all of this shift in energy. So there's a little life update. Onto the more exciting things. I have been really focused on my training. I have signed up to compete in the Australian Masters Surf Lifesaving Championships over on the east coast of Australia. So I've been working towards that goal. I'll be heading over there in a few weeks' time for the competition, and I'm so, so excited. I have really focused on the foundations, really getting the habits in place to build the life I want. I've returned to meditation, to a journaling practice, and really deepened my experience of just tapping into exactly the vision that I truly want for my life. And so that is where a lot of my energy has been spent in the second half of 2025. Enough about my life update. Let's jump into the episode and get to know a little bit more about why I am saying that we are so much more than our star signs. So, first of all, I want to address something that I see so often, and that's most people trying to understand astrology by focusing on one independent thing that is separate from all of the astrology. Now, what I mean by that is most people focus on their star sign. If I was doing this, for example, I'm a Leo, I could just say I'm a Leo. So people will be very quick to put all their eggs in one basket and embody all of those qualities of Leo and dismiss everything else. I just hear also people saying sometimes, I don't have Aquarius or insert any other sign here in my chart. But in fact, as I say often, we have every single sign within us, within our chart, expressing in some way. And so that's what I'm here to break down today. So one thing that I am seeing a lot is this identity being tied to a zodiac sign. And sure, the sign can equal your vibe, but we don't want to identify with this too much. We don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. It's a great entry point into astrology because we all know our star sign. It's very easy to find out from our birth date. Even I was very fixated on this. This is how I first learned about astrology. Of course, I'm a Leo, and as a Leo, I'm very self-focused, which caused me to just want to read all the things about Leo and learn Leo, Leo, Leo. And I am just hearing this more and more with so much more coming out about astrology. People are so focused on their sign. their zodiac sign. For example, if I talk about the recent Saturn-Neptune conjunction that is happening in Aries, if I was to meet someone who has an Aries sun placement, they might say, "Oh, I'm an Aries, so what does this mean for me?" Or I could also equally hear someone say that this doesn't apply to me because I am not an Aries, and that is absolutely not true. This type of thinking is just incomplete because we are so much more intricate than, and we are so much more complex than just one sign. And this is equally true of astrology. Astrology is so much more complex and intricate than just one sign. And if you're listening to this, I think you probably know that by now. So today I'm going to be starting by sharing with you three basic parts so that you can, or three basic parts of astrology so that you can start to deepen your understanding of yourself through the lens of astrology, because that is what I am here to teach. So those three parts are the planet, the sign, and the house. If we were to put it in very simple terms, we can say that a planet, or the planet, the one that you choose, whichever one you're looking at, can represent a personality trait. It can represent a why, for example. So just to give you a very basic example, the sun can represent our ego or our spirit or our main character energy. The moon could represent our emotions and our feelings, and it could also represent our body. It can represent these expressions within us. The sign can represent the how we express something. It can represent the qualities of that personality trait. So I often say it might be loud, it might be adventurous, or it could be quiet, it could be a little bit more private. And then we have the houses. Now, the houses are very interesting, and they represent where in our life things might be playing out, or where this energy of the planet, the personality and its character, where is that significant or going to have more of an impact? So let me give you a few examples, and hopefully you can take this away and go and apply it to your chart. So I'm going to give you examples of my own chart because it is very easy for me to explain that. It is my character, it is my energy. So let's dive in. I'm going to talk about, firstly, my Mars in Scorpio in the 11th house. So let's break it down. Mars expresses the energy of drive and action. You could also say it's our masculine, it's our yang expression, going out and doing something, getting something moving. That's what Mars is. Now, Scorpio, the character or the quality that flavors this energy, Scorpio qualities or characteristics can be very intense. They can be very private. They can be very strategic in a certain way. And the 11th house is representing the area of my life that has to do with hopes and visions for the future, and also groups and the people that I surround myself with. So if we were to add that all together, you could say that my drive expresses intensely and strategically when it comes to my future visions. So that's just a one-liner that I've put together about how this energy expresses in my life. Let's do another example. This time I'm going to be looking at my Mercury placement in Leo in the 8th house. So Mercury is the planet that represents our expression. It connects with our mind, and it is how we communicate, Mercury. It's a very fast-moving planet, and so that's why it can be tied to these things. Now, Leo represents the 5th sign of the zodiac, which is all about confidence. It's about having courage, about being bold, about leading the way, and sometimes even being a little dramatic, I must say. Next, let's look at the 8th house. The 8th house can represent very much depth. It can represent our fears. It can represent the mystery or the things that, we need to go deep to uncover. It can certainly represent other people's money. So maybe our significant other and the relationship that we have to money, or even topics that are taboo, off limits. It's also the house of death and rebirth, so it can represent a very transformative process. So if we put all those energies together, this is someone who has a mind that likes to go deep, but then expresses it with confidence and flair. And so I sometimes think of my expression through this podcast that I can speak confidently about these deep, deep topics of astrology that can help myself and other people around have a lot of transformation in their life. If I only told you that my Mercury was in Leo, you could think of a bold communicator. Or if I only told you that my Mercury was in the 8th house, you could think maybe she's a very deep thinker. But you can see how when we have these 3 layers, these 3 levels, and you put it all together, that can be a completely different person. So now I would like to encourage you to go and look at 1 or 2 planets in your chart and go through this step-by-step method. Look and see what that planet represents. Understand the characters of, or the characteristics of the sign that that planet is in. Understand where the house placement, where this planet is, and see if you can put those 3 things together to come up with a expression or understanding of this particular character trait that you embody in your natal chart, in your birth chart. So go ahead and pause this episode and go and look up 1 placement and just run through this formula of looking at your planet, how it expresses what that planet means, the sign, the characters of that planet, and how it might show up, and then where in your life. Look at the house placement and put that all together. Now, the reason most people get stuck is because they are so focused on just their star sign and they don't really look beyond that. Yes, astrology is complex and there are so many intricate layers, and you can start by learning these basics very simply, like I've just described in these steps. Many people also get stuck because they don't understand what each planet represents, but there is plenty of information around on that now. You can go to other episodes that I have here where I've talked about the planets. You can go and listen to the episodes I've done on the different zodiac signs and take a deep dive into just understanding 1 placement in your chart. The other reason people get stuck is that the chart itself can look incredibly confusing. And I completely hear you with this one. You will pull up a chart and it would be this circular map with so many symbols, so many lines, numbers, and what in the world does this all mean? It is absolutely confusing. But I just want you to start by choosing a planet and go deep on that 1 planet. Look at the zodiac sign and the house placement and merge those 3 understandings together to get a really deeper understanding of what this is showing you about yourself. Now, if you don't have access to a chart, you can go to my website and download a free chart where I spell out exactly which planets are in which signs. So you can go and do that. I'll link the details to get your free chart in the show notes. And I also want to invite you to come and join me. Now, if you have ever looked at your birth chart, your natal chart, and thought, I know that this information is so powerful, but I don't actually know what I'm looking at, then this is for you. Perhaps you know your big 3, or you love astrology. You might save the posts on Instagram. Maybe you listen to the podcasts and you have a good understanding, but you still can't confidently explain your chart or use it to make the decisions in your life. My upcoming classes in the 11th house membership over the next 3 months are designed to change that. Not by overwhelming you or drowning you with astrological jargon, but by helping you to actually understand yourself. So in March, we're laying the foundation. So you'll finally know what it is that you're looking at when you look at this chart. You'll understand what you're looking at and why it matters. You'll be able to understand what those symbols mean, what all those segments mean, what all the numbers mean. That's what we are looking at in March, to really understand the foundations of your chart. Then in April, we will start to decode it step by step, so you can start reading it without second guessing yourself. And then in May, we'll explore all the different parts that you might have misunderstood, and we will turn them into how you can see them as strengths moving forward. So my 11th house classes are very interactive. You can come with your questions and I will sit and answer your questions, and I will teach in a really easy to understand way. I can break down astrology in a very simplistic and easy to understand way. So these classes are designed to take you from surface level astrology to self-understanding and really have clarity and confidence when it comes to your own personal astrology. So you can actually use the knowledge of your birth chart. So right now you can join me for 3 months with the special offer of just $97 and give yourself the space to really understand who you are and not just really stay focused and fixed on this one part of your chart. So for $97, you'll be able to join me for 3 months where we will dive deeper into your chart and you'll have a better understanding of your own astrology. It is now time to stop consuming and really start integrating your astrology, applying it to your life so you can use it in a practical way. And I would really love to have you inside. So that is it for today. I hope you do go away and just apply this little step. Take a planet and really deepen your understanding of what it means in your life and in your personality. This is how we integrate astrology into our own life. And I think it can be so incredibly powerful when we start taking the steps. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I'll be back in here next week where we will be looking all at the 3 simple ways to understand yourself more clearly through the astrology. So if you have liked this episode, please feel free to rate and review, and I look forward to seeing you next week with another episode. Thanks so much for joining. Thank you for joining me on this cosmic journey of self-discovery. If you have enjoyed this episode, please leave a review and share it with someone who you think would love it. Keep exploring the secrets of the stars, and remember, the universe has woven a unique story just for you. Until next time, keep shining bright.